Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here. Today I have the honor of being joined by a Jewish Israeli singer, songwriter, music producer based in Tel Aviv. He's actually on the ground now. He is a former IDF captain in the Israeli Navy SEALs, and he is rallying Christians and Jews and everyone who will come together to pray for the state of Israel and what's currently going on there. Please welcome Yair Levi.
Thank you for the
Shalom.
invitation. I'm so happy to be here. It's a hard time in Israel, so I'm trying to say that I'm happy, but the truth is that it's a very hard time. Um, Before I will start, I want to send that everyone that watching us, please pray for the people of Israel. Please pray for the soldier of Israel. I have some of my friends that injured. We will talk about it later, maybe. And I have a good friend from my service that just I just heard a couple of hours ago that he was murdered, and I'm sorry to say it, but with the numbers that growing and growing, I'm sure that I will hear more and more, and I don't think that we will have any family in Israel that don't have someone that they know, or I don't want to say more than this, but it's gonna
Yeah,
be a very hard time for the people of Israel. So please pray for the people that still injured, for their healthy.
yeah,
For the
wow.
healing.
I was going to ask you, you being there on the ground, if you can kind of walk us through yesterday. I know that officially the political security cabinet has confirmed that Israel is at war, following a murderous terrorist attack from the Gaza Strip that began October 7th, around, very early. Can you walk us through that for you being there in Israel? What was that like?
So the end of the Feast of Tabernacle is the last day. Actually, it's the 8 days after. It's called Simchat Torah. We're celebrating the fact that we got the Torah with Moses and the story that you know from Exodus. So it's one of the most happiest day in the year. This one and Purim. Everyone drinking and celebrating and dancing with the Torah on the street. So it was an amazing night. All of us, we went to sleep very late. It was a big celebration. We woke up in the morning. I live in Jaffa in Tel Aviv, so we woke up with a sirens sound. We ran to the shelter. We have a shelter in Israel. You have a shelter in every house. So we went to the
Wow.
shelter. This is the room of my kids. I have three kids. So we ran into the shelter. Thanks God they didn't wake up. I don't know how. We closed the shelter and we didn't know what is going on. I'm an observed Jew, so I didn't open my phone. We're not using electric during the holiday and Shabbat, so
Shabbat,
we
yeah.
didn't know anything. It was around 8. Actually, there was another siren that we didn't hear in 6. So look how even in Tel Aviv, things can be very dangerous in this kind of situation. We were just sleeping. We didn't go to the shelter. So after we went out from the shelter, you were waiting in the shelter a couple of minutes. So we went out, and I went out to pray. In the balcony, we have like a morning prayer that we are doing every morning. So I went to the balcony and started to pray, and my neighbor asked me, "It's looking like you don't know what is going on." And I said, "No, well, what is going on?" And think about it. Just go into the head of Israel. It's like, okay, there is a siren. Maybe I don't know, but it's all good. Like
Yeah.
this is crazy. I'm just telling you this now, but I think like, how can I think that this is okay? But this is
Mhm.
how it to be Israeli. I went into the
Normal life.
balcony
Yeah, it's
and
like normal life for you guys.
yeah, maybe it's only one rocket. You know what I mean? It's so sad for me to say it, but this is maybe one of the problems. So I went out to the balcony. He said for me that crazy things happening in the south. I have to say that as a former IDF captain, till now I can't understand how it's happened because I used to be in the south. a lot in the border of Gaza, and there was something very strange in this attack. Maybe I don't know. It we will talk about it maybe in few months from now. I don't think this is like the moment now to understand, but you have to understand as American that this is not something that anyone that was serving in the border of Gaza can even imagine that can happen. Not
Yeah,
because we think that the Gaza people not trying to attack, because that there are so many people in the border with their eyes open, and so many, I don't know, like soldiers and airplanes and like
yeah.
so,
There's a lot of protection, and for those who may not understand, the Iron Dome was somehow penetrated. The gates that were separating the border were, something obviously happened. The level of security that Israel has always had somehow was breached from different directions, air, land, things like that.
I want to be very very careful here, but I think that something actually from our side was wrong. But it's very hard for me to say this, but there was something there. We will know in the future, but it's not something that need to happen, and it's not because that the Gaza people just made something incredible. This is what I saw from the videos because they just started to drive into Israel. So what I do as a former IDF captain, I just finished my prayer really quick and I open my phone, although it's Shabbat and I'm not allowed. But because of in Judaism, you have to protect your life before everything. It's the highest thing. So I opened the phone just to understand that we're not like I don't know. And first that maybe they called me to reserve, and second
Yes.
because you want to make sure that I live in Jaffa. Like most of my not most, but a lot of my neighbors are Arab, and in the last fight that we had there was a big mess in Jaffa. So
Yeah.
think about you hear about the South and then you think about your kids in the street. So this is like everything ran really quick. And I opened the phone and then I saw the videos and I was like, all right. The media said that we're talking about 50 people, but it's not the number. It's not the number. When you see the video, you understand that this is like kind of a process that the media is doing to not put you in a panic. But
Yeah.
I saw because of my experience from the first moment when you see the video, understand that you're talking about thousands of people that was murdered.
Yeah.
It's not hundred until today. They're saying hundreds, but it's I'm telling you, it's much more.
Yeah.
Um,
I did want to share that. I know as of right now, it's about 700 people confirmed, but there's many missing. And, that's so obviously we know I'm from New York and I was there at 9/11. I was in New York and it was like that. It's a gradual number until we know. And I know that what happened in Israel this week is we can compare it to what happened to us in America with 9/11. The population in New York is much bigger than the population in Israel, and the ratio it would be compared to the same thing.
yeah, and this is maybe like the most important message if you're talking about 9/11, that when you see the video, I in the last operations that we had, I was amazed every time to go back from the battle and to hear that I'm a bad person that killed children. Um, and I knew all the time that when I'm going to any operation, I knew that if I will see a child, I will stop the operation, even if this operation is so important. And I can tell you that any Israeli soldier know it. And when you're coming back and you hear those things about yourself, so For me, I didn't understand how can it happen. But when I saw the videos yesterday, I started to understand because this is how they act. And when you are acting like this, so of course that you will blame others about your things. This is like a very simple um, things in
Yeah,
psychological things
it's
that
reverse psychology. Reverse psychology. You're guilty of something, but you blaming the other person of that thing. It's projecting that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
and yesterday I can and I'm gonna say a very hard thing, but it's important to people to understand because you said about 9/11 and yeah, you can see the similarity. They don't care about children, women. It's not about borders and it's not about land. It's not about it. It's about killing Jewish people, killing the the people of freedom of the world. It's not only about Jewish people and the people that represent the freedom and the democrat people. Um, and I just opened my phone and I saw a woman that they took from a party. They just wrapped her and then took her to the jeep and took her into Gaza. And it's gonna be the sister of each one of us. And when I saw this video, I understood that we need to wake up. We need to wake up. It's not only about Israel. We see what is going on in Paris, in Europe, in it just it's really bad. And we need to wake
Yeah,
up and we need to understand that this is kind of a sign to the entire world that
yeah,
we're dealing with a very radical Islamic people that praying for killing, um, and don't afraid to say that this is their God.
yeah. I um I was up most of the night. I was texting you through the night. I was texting some of my other friends in Israel. Because I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't get the images out of my head of, the young girls just getting hauled away in motorcycles or jeeps. The little child who there's a video of a child who was captured and you can see him getting bullied by other children. And just to think the fate of that child, the fate of those girls, the fate of, I saw the elderly. There were elderly people slaughtered on the streets of Israel. I was just in Israel a few months ago, and it
Wow.
changed my life forever. It was the most beautiful experience. I knew that I was in God's country. I felt the Lord. I knew that that place is special, and I understood what Jews fight so hard to maintain. I understood why it's called the Holy Land. I understood why, as a Christian, our Messiah came there. I understood all these things.
Yeah.
Um, so to see these images of people on the streets that I, walked or I saw, it was horrific. The barbaric treatment of humanity. And I think that sometimes we can kind of get politically involved and say, no,
Yeah.
but there's room for everybody, or everybody should have stake. And there's a very popular phrase on the opposite side that makes Americans or celebrities hashtag and share. But barbaric, murderous behavior is demonic. As someone who came from 9/11 and saw, what terrorism does, I just wanted to share that, and I know that you're feeling that impact
Of course,
firsthand.
of course, and I agree with you so much because you know we are dealing with this like from the very young age. As you understood, my kids yesterday before they went to sleep, they asked me what will happen if the rocket will attack our house. So, and they're 3, 4, 3, 5, and 6 years old. So it's a very young, from very young age, and although all these facts, it's a miracle. I'm telling you that the people of Israel kept themselves out of from this barbarian behavior. And I want to say something about two things that you just mentioned. I just heard today that it's going to be a big gathering in Times Square to pray and like to celebrate the one of the Palestinians or something like this in the war, something like this. And I just heard it a couple of hours ago, and I was, as you say, there is a limit to the freedom of speech. You see the videos. How can it happen that in the Times Square right now people celebrating the death? Second, I want to say that thanks God, but I'm really think that is from both things. It's God and it's us. I'm thanks God. I have a lot of very viral videos about Israel, about good things about Israel, and about the Hebrew language, and about my music, of course. But thanks God, we have the power in our hand to share. And this is exactly what me and you are doing right now in your amazing platform to share the truth. So each one of the people that's watching us right now, you need to understand in this kind of moment in your life that you see that people are suffering, you have the weapon in your hand to share, to make like, to give a comment, to do something with it, to share the truth. This is so important because they are working really hard to share the lies. So we need to fight in this way too. Of course, we're trusting God. It's all His plan. We know it, but we need to do something from ourselves to show Him that we're trying.
Yeah,
Um,
I did want to ask you about that. I know you and Rabbi Tully Wise, I've actually talked to him as well about just how he's fostering the relationship between the Jewish and the Christian people. And Yair, I know that you too, with your music, that's something
yeah.
that you are also doing, which is really incredible. You're remaking popular Christian songs that are talking about the God of the Bible, and you're remaking them in Hebrew, and they're popular and being played in synagogues and all these things. um and I thank you for that. I believe that we're obviously better united. And I wanted to ask you specifically. I know you guys are hosting a prayer, and you're calling everybody, Christians, Jews, whoever, will pray, right, for peace of Israel. But how are there specific things you said, like share the truth? What could Christians do better? What could the church do better? People who, we serve a Jewish Messiah. That's what we believe wholeheartedly, right? Everything that we believe and we've gotten is from the Jewish people. What could we do as a community to rally around you and help this?
So first, I want to say to all the people that watching us right now, and I'm saying it a lot, but it's so important to say it again and again. We are the Jewish people. Appreciate you so much, um, and don't think because of some videos that you saw on social media 2 weeks ago, it's not represent the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, the major group of the Jewish people. There will always be on extreme people, and I want to say thank you so much. We appreciate it. You don't know how much, and we know that a lot of the protection that we have from God is coming through the Christian people to Israel, because the protection will come anyway, but the Christian people decided to be the vessel for the people of Israel, and it's so amazing and it's so beautiful because this is what God say in the Bible. You can choose if you want to be the vessel for charity, the vessel for good in the world, or support the people of Israel. And I want to say thank you so much again and again. And second, it's mostly I feel in this kind of situation to tell the truth first in your work, in your church, in your university, to tell the truth. I can share with you that I was invited to Stanford uh, 7 months ago, and it was canceled after they heard that I was a former IDF captain in the Navy SEAL. Not because my opinions, they didn't know what I'm going to say. Actually, the event was about peace because there was a Lebanese singer that was translated my song to Arabic, and it was a big thing in the Middle East. So it was the plan was to make like a very beautiful event about peace. They canceled it because of who I am and my past, and actually who I am as a former IDF captain. So we need to spread the truth about what is the IDF, what is the to tell them it's all lies. The people of Israel not acting like the videos that you saw right now, and now it's a good opportunity for you to show for those people that lying for years to show them, look, this is the Palestinian people. Second is the social media. Again, I'm telling you, it's very strong. Go to people that you in any platform that you want, news, um, social media, wherever you can go and share the truth. This is working, and there are millions of people that don't know anything, and if they saw a one article with lies, then this is what they think. So you can be a server, you can be a messenger of the truth. This is like the highest thing that you can do, I think, to tell the truth to people. And of course, eventually it's affecting political decisions in the US. And this is so important for us. I can see in the government right now that they are trying to make sure that they have the protection, the political agreement for a lot of countries to act. Because most of the time, I can tell you from my experience as a soldier in the field, that we used to risk our life because of the fact that we didn't have a permission to go in. So think about a group of soldiers that got an order to go into Gaza, and then they say, "Oh, stop, stop, stop." Then you stop in the middle of Gaza. I'm telling you a story that happened to me in Tzuk Eitan. It was the last operation in Gaza. We went into Gaza, and then they said, "Hey, hey, stop." And then there was a ceasefire with Hamas, agreement between Egypt, Hamas, Israel, and the US. And you know what's happening in this ceasefire? They attacked the IDF and they kidnapped Hadar Goldin. He was a soldier, he's still there, a soldier that was kidnapped in this operation. So when you send in a bunch of soldiers into Gaza and then you don't give them the permission to act, you risk their life. So I'm telling you, each one of us that's listening to us in the US, we need your help to help us to go to the people that you know that can affect the decisions in the US, in the government, in the any political place that you know that can affect those who get the decision. And it's all, of course, start from the what they feel from the people, but then
Yeah.
of course and this is very important because it can save life of people.
Yes. And there are many people that are still missing that need to be rescued. I understand. I know you said earlier in the very beginning that this has personally affected you and impacted you. You said there were some soldiers that you were with that have been affected. Can you share just a little bit about that so we can know how to pray for you specifically?
There is a big mess right now, but one of my good friend of mine, I just heard today morning that he was murdered,
So
and
sorry.
he was from a unit, and I have another two soldiers of mine that they are not my soldiers anymore, but they used to be my soldier that like in a very hard situation right now in the hospital. It's very hard to understand the what is their situation because you need to understand all the south of Israel was just the Hamas took control on villages. So there are still a lot of places that a lot of people that still missing. Some of them in Gaza and some of them in Israel, but that's it's still places where Hamas is to control. So please pray for the people that are still missing. Pray that will not suffer. They're gonna have a very hard time in the hand of Hamas, but let's pray that God will help and they will suffer as less as possible and they will come back to Israel because this is like a terrible thing to be inside of Gaza. You saw the videos.
Yeah.
And for what I heard, there is no one in Israel that don't know about someone that was injured, died, or
Wow.
kidnapped. So it's like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I we have a couple minutes left, but I wanted to ask this. Where do you think we are in the biblical timeline um of our existence, you know? I would ask that, and you're, you know, you're not a soldier on the in the ground, you know, right now, and I pray that you don't have to, you're not called back in. I know that's a possibility. But you are like a King David, you know, a worshiper. And you releasing music in the atmosphere and shifting the atmosphere with worship to God. Um, what do you where do you think we are in the timeline, the biblical timeline, and what do you think your role is?
I wish that I could be like King David. So thank
Hmm.
you. And I think that we're in the end of time. I think that everybody can feel it. Everyone can feel it. Um, you never know if it's about hundreds of years or a couple of years, but it's all about us because the more we are getting close to the end, the more the devil to control and try to is putting his last fight into the ground, into people, into nations. Like he's acting through nations, through people, and we need first, I think, in this kind of situation, first to trust Him, to trust God that this is exactly what He wants, what He wants from us, and it's all kind of of a test, let's say, kind of a test for us. What we gonna choose? Are we gonna choose the the bad side, the devil, or the good side? And I can tell you that right now in Israel, there is such a long line for people that wanna give blood in the hospital, people that trying to help the soldiers, people that trying to. I can say that in my neighborhood, because people know that I'm a former IDF, we got hundreds of phone calls from neighbors that want to help my wife if she's okay because they thought that maybe I was called to
Deployed.
reserve.
Yeah.
So this is what we need to do. Even people from the US to ask if they can to find places that they can help in their community. I'm not talking only about Israel right now, in their community to see what I can do better in this last time of redemption, the last time, what I can do better
Yeah.
with my neighbors, with my family, with my church, with my friends all over the world, and of course, in this kind of situation, with the people like in the people with the people of Israel that really suffering right now. It's a good opportunity to support and to show love and it's so appreciated. I have to say that just started with this, and I can just I know that you didn't ask it, but I will just say it that for me to sit here with you and to speak in English, maybe now it's feel for you that it's natural, but for me, 3 years ago, I couldn't imagine that it will happen because I was a singer in Israel. I made songs in that I started to have songs in the radio. I was just in the beginning, but it was a beginning of a big breakout. Um, and suddenly the COVID came, and all of my content was just canceled. I released a song for my grandma that was ill, and because of COVID and everything, and because of God, of course, He put me in a position of singing to hundreds of Christians during COVID. Some event with hundred thousands of Christians, and I was asking myself all the time, I'm telling you the truth, I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I asked myself, who are those people that doing like this? Who are those people? I don't know them. I don't want to get involved in this. Listen, I'm an observed Jew. It was
Yeah.
like, whoa, I don't wanna I don't wanna touch it. I don't wanna talk with them. I'm just I just wanna say the truth. This is the truth.
Yeah.
But then I understood that I misunderstand everything. Like I don't know how many people feel such a connection to us, and we need to give them our love back and to support them, to help them supporting us. We can be the best friend, and we are the best friend, but a lot of Israel don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I took on myself the responsibility to be a bridge. Of course, today we talk about, because of the situation, we're talking a lot about the things that happening in Israel, but I felt that with in the war, but I felt that my calling from God is to show people in Israel and outside of Israel that we can be a good friend, and it's not have to be just behind the scene for scenes like for the Christian people. And this is what I'm doing for a couple of years, flying back and forward to the U.S. and different countries to play my music and to share, um, to illuminate all the things that we have in common. So
Yes. And that's so beautiful. It's funny, I was in Israel and I grew up in New York, and in New York there's certain areas where it's, the Orthodox or religious
uh,
Jewish people, but they don't mix with the popular community usually. So I was never able to really intermingle with Orthodox Jews. And I stayed in Jaffa Street, and my husband, we booked a ticket, we didn't go on a tour, we just went to Israel ourselves. So we stayed in an Airbnb in a Jewish building where the elevator
wow.
stopped working for Shabbat. We got on a plane and we flew to Israel with, several Jewish people from New York, and it was so beautiful to see how the Jewish people praised God, how they, would, go set time aside to pray. It was so obvious to me why God has kept the Jewish people all these years. And it was so beautiful to see. And just like you said, there's a lot of misunderstanding when we don't know, but when we come together, it can be so beautiful to see the things that do bridge us together. And Yair, I think for such a time as this, is why God had you come in and do concerts for the Christian people. For such a time as this, you have the expertise of a soldier, of a captain, but you also have the worship of a that praise to your king. I think it's all strategic. And I agree with you, the times that we're in, and I'm glad that there's people like you that are willing to share, speak with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I agree with you that this is like when the Israeli country was rebuilt, it was the major opportunity for us to connect because when you have your own identity and country, it's much easier to connect. So
Yeah.
it's a very good time for this.
Amen.
And thank you so much.